Hi, Sagittarius. Welcome to Pandora Astrology's monthly horoscope for January of 2022. And it's a whole new year. We are the astrologers of Pandora Astrology. I'm Jamie Kilmiller. I'm in Berkeley, California.
And I'm Julia Mijas in San Francisco.
And I want to begin by telling you about something that's actually been going on since October and really causing a lot of worry for us all financially. And that's Ceres, which has gone retrograde as of October 8th, triggering the beginning of about a 14.5-week period of reevaluating our finances, our stewardship of our physical bodies, and our eating and food. Now, when this started, Ceres was up here in your 7th house. And so you may have found that this came up in your relationship in terms of how you budget with your partner, how you and your partner share monies, or it may have come up in a business partnership. And also it may have come up in the area of like how you cook and eat together with your partner, and whether one of you maybe should be eating differently than the other, and the difficulties of arranging that everybody gets fed in the right way. So during Ceres' journey backwards, and you can see the little retrograde symbol here, it has moved back into the 6th house, and it has also changed signs and moved back into the sign of Taurus. This is actually a good thing because Ceres loves being in Taurus, and it doesn't at all like being in Gemini where it started. So it started in a state of Geminian nervous tension and worry, and it has retrograded, moved backwards into Taurus, where we can return to the fundamentals. And it arriving in your 6th house means look to your habits, look to your systems, look to the processes that make your life run. And in particular, return to the basics regarding how you run your money, how you handle your food and eating, and in your partnership as well, and how you take care of your body. So the really good news is, and I want to throw in there that in the middle of all this process, when our worries had reached a peak, there was something that I like to call Financial Crisis Day. You can find out more about this in the video about Ceres in our on our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology, in the January 2021 news playlist. But I like to call it Financial Crisis Day, and it happened on November 26th. And Julia, I think you said that there was a stock market crash that day.
Oh yeah, big few hundred points went down.
Yeah, and it's not surprising because the markets are emotional, and when people worry about money, well, then they move their money around, and maybe they don't make the best choices. So that happened. And now we can begin to like extricate ourselves from those troubles and rethink how we manage our money and how we think about our money and organize our money. And so on January 14th, Ceres is going to go direct, and it will get a lot easier from there. We're going to start to come out of the woods after the 14th. So, Julia, you have news of Mercury, Mars, and Venus. What ho in the realm of Mercury, particularly.
Well, so hey, Sagittarius, at the very beginning of the month, on January 2nd, Mercury moves into your 3rd house. The 3rd house is actually naturally ruled by Mercury, so it has a lot of similar significations. Mercury represents communication and all your mental processes, and the 3rd house does as well. On top of that, the 3rd house also represents your siblings, your neighbors, and writing, the same way Mercury does. So with Mercury in your 3rd house, this is going to be a time of increased communication in your life. Maybe you're reaching out if you have any siblings and talking and spending more time with them. Maybe you're getting along and connecting with your neighbors or local community, because the 3rd house is our local everyday environment. And if you are writing anything for work, for school, for your own purposes, then this can be a wonderful time to get a lot of writing done. Now, on the 14th, Mercury is going retrograde in this house, house, which means it's really going to hit you with a lot of miscommunications. This particular retrograde cycle is a double whammy because Mercury retrograde in general brings miscommunications, and it's happening in your house of communication. Now, these miscommunications can crop up with your siblings, with anybody in your life really, but also neighbors too, because of the symbolism involved. And if you are working on any writing projects, this might be a time of editing and going back and having to redo a chapter or a whole paragraph. So be prepared for that. And then Mars starts the month in your first house of self. So when Mars is in the first house, it's a time of high energy. This is a really, really good time to kind of get a workout routine going, because if you don't get the energy out through activity, you might run into some conflicts or start picking on other people. With Mars in the first house, it's a really good time for standing up for your boundaries, understanding where your rights are and how to fight for them. But we can also go a little bit overboard too. So just try to be a little moderate with your response. And then Venus, the planet of art, beauty, and relationships, starts the month retrograde in your second house. The second house is a money house. Now, I really covered this cycle in depth last month because it's spanning 2 different months. So if you really want to hear how this Venus retrograde cycle will affect you personally, I do recommend going back to that video. But really quickly, Venus retrogrades are time of relationship review. And in the second house, you could be reviewing your current partner in terms of money, whether they can offer you enough material security, whether you're always having to pay for things. And since the second house represents values, that could also be a time of review as well. And I know in terms of relationships, Jamie has some more stuff on that, especially with Juno.
Yeah, I sure do. So, so the paradox of it is that while Venus is pushing us all through a relationship retrospective, as she does about every year, not at the same time every year, but and for you, this is landing in the realm of money. And so you're asking yourself, does this relationship that I'm in work for me financially? Or you may even be asking yourself, am I financially attractive to a partner? And so Venus is, causing that retrospection. But meanwhile, Juno, which signifies committed relationship, a committed partnership, such as in your personal life, marriage or engagement, or in your business life, business partnership, or the one-on-one relationships that you might have if you're in that kind of a business, like you're a therapist or a lawyer or an advocate or an agent or a counselor of some kind. So Juno is about all those kind of relationships too. And Juno is moving forward at a wonderful clip and connects with the sun right here, boom, in the middle of the month, around the 11th and 12th. So it's actually a time for committed relationships to go forward and take that next step. And if you look around you and Venus is making you, reevaluate, well, this relationship doesn't work for me and it doesn't work for me financially, but this relationship does, then the one that does is going to be the place where you'll probably want to just plant your seeds of commitment. Okay, so let's talk about some moons. And by the way, there are videos about the Venus-Juno thing and also the Ceres thing in our January news playlist on our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology, if you want to find out more about that. So the next thing I want to talk about is the moons. And the first one is happening early in the month. On the 2nd, and that is a new moon in Capricorn. You can see it right here in the second house. And the second house is so lit up this month. It's really so much about finances for you this month, because that's what the second house is. And this is also the house of being a good steward of our physical bodies and feeding ourselves well. And if those themes sound familiar, from earlier in this horoscope, it's because Ceres is the natural ruler of the second house, and so it shares themes with the second house. So this is really the emphasis. And so this new moon happening here may bring you to a peak of pressure on yourself to earn. to be strong financially, even to the point of brittleness and even possibly breakage. And I say that because this moon squares Chiron. We're calling this moon when toughing it out doesn't work anymore. And so what I'm saying to you is, in the early part of January, you may come to a point where you just realize that, like, you're just trying too hard. You're working too hard. You're providing value, but too much, and it's breaking you. And that you need instead to make a new beginning that is going to be more sustainable and will enable you to heal. So, as is often the case, the 2 moons of a month will have connected themes. And in this case, the full moon sort of plays out some of the themes of breakage from the new moon in a much nicer way. This one we're calling, it's a full moon in Cancer. It appears in your 8th house, which is also a money house, but it's a house of finances shared with other people, particularly a spouse or, again, a business partner. So this one we're calling Relax and Allow the Break You've Been Working Toward. And so with the nurturing moon falling in its own sign where she loves to be, the moon loves to be in Cancer, and occupying your 8th house of other people's money, this could be an occasion where you realize that, maybe you could just coast a little bit. Maybe your partner's income could carry you through for a little while, and maybe it's okay to be nurtured and supported by that. Okay, so then we have the seasonal shift. The sun has been traveling along through Capricorn, which is your 2nd house of finances, bringing the spotlight of attention. That's what the sun does. It represents the sun, it emits sunlight, and it brings growth and heat and warmth and life to everything on earth. Similarly, attention is the metaphysical representation of sunlight. And wherever the sun travels in your chart, you should be bringing your high quality attention, helping things to grow. So once the sun leaves your 2nd house, you can take your attention off of money and put it instead on your neighborhood, the 3rd house. You can be a great neighbor and have great experiences with your neighbors when the sun is passing through the 3rd house. And, maybe it's time to have a block party, or a movable feast, where you take food to a neighbor and then another neighbor and another neighbor and sit down with the people right around you. Now, this is a house of neighbors. It's also a house of siblings. It's a house of the people right around you, maybe housemates, and putting some high quality attention on those people and on your immediate environment is a great thing to do, enabling wonderful things to flower and grow while the sun is passing through Aquarius. So, Sag, that's what we've got for you this month. That was a lengthy horoscope, but we covered a lot there. You can find out more about the things we mentioned on our YouTube channel, Pandora Astrology, or on our website, especially on our monthly forecast page. And if you are interested in a reading, find your way to the readings page. And there are also classes available on our website too, pandoraastrology.com. And until next time, we'll see you around the cosmos. Bye-bye.
Bye.